Give me just the brief origin story. How did O come into your life, and how did that first meeting set you off on your course?
I'll start. So I met O back in the early to mid 80s when I was doing punk rock shows. He would come down with bands that flew over to LA to play Golden Voice shows, and he was kind of a chaperone them for their San Diego shows. So I would see him around. I didn't really know him. The first time I actually remember meeting him and talking with him, he was chaperoning the Toy Dolls, and we had a show at Jackie Robinson Y with Circle Jerks and Toy Dolls. The Toy Dolls got there. He was kind of like their tour manager, but they didn't call it a tour manager back then, you know? So he gets there, and the band gets in there, and they absolutely hated the venue, and they hated the PA, and they just said, we're not gonna play. So I'm talking to O, and you know, I had seen him around, so we had kind of had an awareness of each other. I just remember talking to him, and he tried his damnedest to get them to play, and they just weren't having it. So the last thing, he gets in the van and he drives away, and I'm like, see you later, O, you know? And that was the first time I actually remember interacting with him.
O trying to help, as always.
Yes.
Kevin Lyman.
I mean, very similarly. I was starting to do shows for Golden Voice up in LA, and there was a venue called Fender's Ballroom. And I was kind of learning, cutting my teeth, and I'm sitting there, and every day I would show up, and Rat Sound wasn't even there, and the bands hadn't showed up, but there was this guy standing there. And you know, I finally asked him, you know, are you here to help load or work? He goes, no, just here. I go, what's your name? He goes, O. And I go, okay. And about 6-7 shows later, I started to realize it wasn't a show until you saw O.
That's true. That's true. Josh.
The band I was playing in, we just were unloading out of a show. My dad had made me this cover on the top of my Toyota that I could put my equipment in and lock it down, and you couldn't get to it. O saw me locking it down. He's like, "Where did you get that, bitch?" and I said, my dad made it for me. And he came over and promptly started like using the hydraulics and going, "This is so fucking awesome." And that's how we met.
Jeff.
I met O around 91. I think we played San Diego maybe 3 or 4 times. And every show he was there when we would show up. Like he'd be either in our dressing room or right outside our dressing room. And the third time that we played San Diego was here on the fairgrounds with the Chili Peppers and Nirvana. And he was in our dressing room when we showed up, and I was like, "What?" I go, "Who are you?" And similar to Kevin, he goes, "I'm O," and I go, "What's that mean? Like, who do you fucking know here?" And he goes, "I know everybody." And I go, "No, seriously, who do you know here?" And he goes, "I know Dave Ratt, I know Carrie, I know Jeff, I know." He knew half our crew. And so every time we came to San Diego from that point on, we just knew he was going to be in our dressing room eating our
Tony.
I have a little different journey because I met him through skating. I met him where I met most of my lifelong friends, and that was Del Mar Skate Ranch. He was just a fixture skating all the time, hanging out. I think one of the first interactions I had with him is I fell in the half pipe, and anyone who skated Del Mar knows the half pipe was super rough. My knee pad came down, and I just like scraped my knee to the white, you know, and I'm looking at it, and he's just like, "Oh, gouge away." That was my first interaction with him. And then not long after that, I bought a house in Carlsbad, and I would wake up in the morning and O would just be on the couch. That's true. I didn't know when he came. I had 3 other roommates, we're all skaters. It was lawless. But O was definitely kind of a 5th roommate on the couch for a couple of years.
If anyone in history figured out the art, the science of teleportation, it was no doubt O. He was everywhere all the time. Thankfully, that means all of us got to spend time with O. You know, we have this esteemed panel, everyone from, they're all titans in their field, absolutely. But I want to start with Josh. Josh, I myself, and I'm sure a lot of people out here and a lot of people on the stage have felt the support, the encouragement from O, the honest critique from O, you know, with our bands and seeing him there and, you know, playing with him every once in a while. But you actually had the privilege, the adventure of being in a band called Fluff with O for many years. Yeah. So I just kind of want to know, you know, like I said, we've all felt his encouragement and his spirit. But what was it like to actually be in a band with him, to see that creative process, to be part of that process?
I've been thinking about this a lot lately. After I joined Fluff, I think about it as I just like held on, and I was fucking along for the best ride of my life. That's kind of how I think about it. But he was always really, really encouraging. The thing I remember most is just like playing on stage with him. We said so much to each other with 0 words. And I would fuck up a note, and he would look over at me, and I would fuck, and then he'd like wink. Towards the end of us playing, I had the opportunity to work for President Obama, and I went to talk with O, and I said, "Hey man, I have this opportunity. It's going to mean I have to move to Chicago." And he goes, "Of course, bitch. Why wouldn't you?" And he was so encouraging, just always, through whether it was music or whatever else I was doing. It's just like, yeah, he's as everyone here, just changed my life.
Yeah, there aren't many people